Hello, everybody. Good evening. I'm Dr. Amjad Razal, and welcome to the another video on my YouTube channel, World Voice Vibes. In the last two videos, I spoke about the differences and disparities in teachers' salaries in terms of, uh, when you look at the data globally and when you compare it with India. And in the second video, I also spoke about the percentage of GDP that is spent by each country, okay, by each government across the world. So today in this video, like I'm gonna promise, I'm not gonna make this video very lengthy. I'm just trying to keep this video as short as possible. So today, I am looking into the details, specially published by UDISE. So, what UDISE is, I'm going to show that on the screen. It will be on the screen in a couple of seconds. So, when you look at the data that is published in India, and when you compare that with the other countries, because Indian education system with the teachers and the students that we have, so it is one of the largest education system in the world. And since we have crores of students and nearly 1.5 crore teachers, professors, lecturers in various organizations run by the government or the private institutions. So now we need to look at the data just to understand how the education system is functioning in India, what is the growth before lockdown, how that growth was. I remember during lockdown when I was invited as a speaker at some education summit or conferences, I used to quote this data that when you talk about the computer education in India, so only 13% out of all the institutions in the world, I'm sorry, in India, so only 13% of the schools had computer facility, and only 11% or 12% had the internet facility. So, what is the growth after lockdown, and how the schools are progressing, how the schools are functioning, and how they're imparting education? We are going to check that in this video. Like I said in the past two videos, in the last two videos also, I'm going to say that again. The thing of my video making is this is totally uncut version. So I'm not taking any retake. This is just directly I'm recording, I'm talking to you, and I'm showing you data directly just like that. Okay. Because of that, I will be making errors. The other YouTubers, they edit their videos, they take a lot of time, they spend a lot of time in making the transition very smooth, so that you can see after some seconds you see another immediate shot where they talk about the previous thing and the next thing. I'm not going to do that. I am just talking, looking into the camera, and I'm recording this. So for that matter, please excuse me, and I'm sure you definitely give me the support. I also want to take this moment to thank the people who subscribed to my channel. Before uploading the second video, I had only 29 subscribers. Now I can see there are 35 subscribers. So I got 6 more subscribers. I'm really happy for your support. And I also saw that good number of people visited my YouTube channel. They also watched the previous two videos. So the idea of making videos now is not just to show random data, but just this is some, I am more inclined towards reading, checking the data, analyzing the information. uh, so in these videos I'm using very basic skill, so that just how we read the data, how we compare it with the data that we have in India and the data that we get from different countries. So probably in the next video I'll talk about how uh, India is competing with other countries, and what is the inside story of those countries in terms of education. Like I said, for Finland and US, UK, and other countries where the education system, and especially when in terms of GDP, as you saw in the previous video, America spends a lot of money. So how that money is being used, and what is the structure, what is the inside story of the American schools. So I'll be definitely talking about that as well. So in this video, I'm just going to talking about India today. We are going to understand how big the number is, and how state wise and district wise, we are like so diverse and so big in different. So there are schools in Assam, there are schools in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Telangana, and all these 29 states of the country. So how many schools are there? what is the enrollment ratio, how students are, how many students are enrolled, what is the teacher's performance metric over there. So just a basic understanding, so that I know whenever we talk about the education system in India, many people complain. But when you look at the size of the population and you see there are almost 1 crore people, and then there are nearly 15 lakh institutions, 15 lakh schools. So the number is really huge, because for each state, okay, in each state there are nearly 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 schools, and there are lakhs of teachers and lakhs of students studying there, teachers who are educating. So when you look at the data, so that you'll understand, okay, how this big effort is, especially from the government side, and also from the private institutions, how they are playing their role to help the students learn and grow their skills and become the responsible citizens of the country. I know I'm talking too much. I really want you to, I want to show you the data, so that we all should be proud that we have this big number. And in every district, every village, every city, we have got so many institutions just to cater to the students and cater to their needs and developing their personalities and developing their skills. All right, let's jump into the video. I'm going to share the screen right now. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, when I just checked for the number of schools that are already there in India. So as of now, or as of 2022, you see, I just Google search and give me this link, Statista. In the first video, I spoke about Statista and what that organization does. So here, as per their data, as per this particular year, 2022, there are 1.4 million schools, 14 lakh schools in India. So there are some schools run by the government, state governments, and there are central governments. Central government also runs few schools, and there are private schools as well. So Indian schooling system is one of the largest in the world. Why? Because of the size of the population. Now, after this, I actually wanted to look at different numbers. So for that matter, I opened this particular document. I got this document online. I mean, this particular document is available online on different platforms. So I got the data from 2021 and 2022. So the latest data, that particular report will also be available. So the number, whatever we are going to see here, there will be slight variation here and there. The number must have definitely increased. Okay. So when you compare this particular data with what you know or what you are aware of, so you can easily make the difference. And just to give you a quick understanding of this particular video, it is not just to take you into the analytical part of it, but there are many people who are not aware that we have these many schools. When you ask anybody, do you know how many schools are there in Telangana? So they start guessing, maybe 10,000 schools, maybe 20,000 schools. So I'm just giving you this information. So there are a few learnings from this video for you. First thing, you get to know what the exact number, more or less the exact number of schools that the state has, and how many out of that I mean the total number of schools in that particular state, how many are private institutions and how many are state government owned institutions. Okay, there are differences. So if you are watching this a particular video and you are from Rajasthan, so you will get to know how many total number of schools are functioning in Rajasthan, and out of all, how many are state run schools and how many are private institutions. So apart from that, if you already know that there are these number of schools, okay, in any particular state or maybe in your particular state, now you will get to understand how many schools are run by the government, how many are run by the private institutions, and what is the growth. So when this particular data is generated, so they look at different data points, they look at different metrics. So what is that particular metric? And maybe if you watch the whole video, you will get to understand, okay, just by the number that you see on the screen, you can just quote it to the person you're talking to, and you can have a debate or a discussion on that. This is the number, this is the growth, this is how the state is taking care of education in my particular state. And apart from that, if you are a person who would like to look into such data, just looking at the dashboard or the screen that I'm already sharing with you. I'm sorry, I forgot to enlarge myself. Okay. So when share this particular, if you are a person who would like to do research, so there are sites like this, web pages like this, where you can just quickly go and you can make your own points. If you're going to have any kind of debate, or maybe you're you have been invited as a speaker at any conference or leadership summit, and you get the chance to talk about the number of schools in India and how they are functioning and what are the facilities available, what facilities are not available, what is the growth, where there is no growth. This particular UDISE information will help you in terms of statistics. Now, looking into this particular flash statistics. So basically, this is published by the Government of India, Ministry of Education. And after this particular page, like you can already see here, there are like 205 pages. So immediately when you just go to the content, so you can get to know the total number of schools by the differences, the variation. And I don't want you to, spend your time looking into each one of these right now. The video will be very lengthy. So quickly, I'll take you to basically everybody, they whenever they publish data, they always give a disclaimer that somewhere there will be like difference or disparity, so we should be okay with that. And this particular data is the accuracy of data is actually managed by the DCF and the nodal officers, school principals and headmaster, and all the people that I'm highlighting here. So what do they do? That every year they, with I mean by 30th September, they get this a particular notification from the government, where the school principals are supposed to log in and they have to submit the data online, and somewhere it is collected manually. So what data they get is, there'll be like certain questions which you are going to see on the screen, especially from this particular document, and the total number of toilets for boys, for girls, the computer lab, whether there is internet facility or not. And earlier, if there were like 10 toilets or 10 washrooms for students, boys especially, and how many are there right now. So that's how they collect information every year, and they make their own analytical summary. Now, what are the key results all over India? Like I said, here you are getting a little bit of information on what UDISE is. So here you see, now, like I said in the beginning, Indian education system is one of the largest in the world, with nearly 14.89, almost 15 lakh schools, with 95 lakh teachers and nearly 26.52 crore students, from pre-primary level to higher secondary level. Okay. We're not talking about universities here. Universities, they have their own different number. Universities and, graduation colleges and all. Okay. So previously, this particular data, UDISE, was named like this: DPEP, District Primary Education Program, where they used to collect the data. After that, they brought in computerized system, where they renamed it to Education Management Information System, EMIS. Later, especially, they again changed it, and finally they came up with this particular term. This is how schools use this particular name for data collection: DICE. Okay, District Information System for Education. And after that, they called unified data, UDICE. And when I was a principal of a school, I also received this particular sheet, where I was supposed to submit the information and give it back to these authorities, so that they'll make their own understanding and their own points. Okay, this was a quick overview of what we normally are going to see. Links are also available, so that you can just visit and on your own, and you can check. Now, here, the total enrollment of students, if you see, I'm not reading the entire paragraph, but what I see is, this particular number from class 1 to class 12 has increased from 0.76% in 2021 and 22 as compared to 2020 and 21. So 2020 and 21, basically it was the lockdown year, the first year, maybe because of the lockdown and coronavirus. Students, people, they did not enroll their kids into schools for any other reason, maybe. So after lockdown, let's say from 2021, 2022, that academic year, there was good enrollment. Okay. So 0.76 was enrollment. And this particular data, enrollment data, is in terms of crores. So if you see, in 2018 and 19, in pre-primary, this color code, pre-primary, there were nearly 1.2 crore students enrolled. In 19 and 20, 1.4 crores. Because of lockdown or any other thing, any other reason, 1 crore only. And then 2020 and 21 and 22, 0.95 crores. You can see the difference. Okay, here and there, somewhere there is growth, somewhere there is decline. So you see in higher education also, if it is 2.6 crore in 2018 and 19, then if you compare it with 2021 and 22, there you have nearly 2.86 crore enrollment in in higher secondary education. So this is just a quick understanding of the enrollment. Now, if you want to understand in a summary wise, you can just read this particular thing. Now, in terms of boys, in terms of girls, what is the enrollment rate in terms of crores? You have this, and now this is about the enrollment of girls. We have this number. Okay. After this, the number of teachers. Number of teachers by class taught in, especially in India, comparing the data from 2018 and 19, that academic year, to 2021 and 22. So you see here, in this data is in lakhs. So you see in pre-primary only 0.7. Okay, if it is in lakhs, so that means it is, how many, 70,000 teachers, they were working only in pre-primary level, and they were like 39.5. Okay, 39 lakh teachers, they were working in pre-primary only, and this is how it is divided. Okay, that number here you see 1.1, I mean 1 lakh 10,000 teachers, they were working in 2021 and 22. 3.7, you see from 0.6, the increase is like huge in pre-primary and primary. That means teachers, they teach in upper kg, like we call it LKG, UKG, upper kindergarten, and then somewhere they call it different. And those teachers also teach in grade 1 and grade 2. That's how it is pre-primary and primary. So primary only we have this data. Primary and upper primary, that means teachers who teach in, let's say, 4, 5, 6, those classes, middle school, and upper middle school, secondary only. So you have these number. Somewhere there is growth, somewhere there is decline. So the good decline happened here in, especially primary only. They were nearly 39.5. Okay, 39 lakh teachers, they were teaching only in pre-primary, and that number reduced to 34.4. Okay, this is the percentage of teachers by classes taught. So whatever you see here, exactly, this is in a different diagram, so that in a different infographic, so where you are seeing that particular data in this particular way. Okay, okay, that's it. Now, this particular data also reveals the gender of the teachers. Okay, you see the blue one, it's for males, and the pink one is for females. Okay, so as per this particular color coding, you see the number of teachers who are working in India by the percentage of gender, and this is basically in lakhs, and this is in percentage. So you see, wherever, somewhere it is equal, somewhere it is more, somewhere it is less. 0.5% is the difference. Okay. Okay, number of teachers in lakhs by classes taught. So the number of classes, they normally teach, all the data is, available here, the structure. This is really interesting, because when I was looking at this data before making the video, I actually understood that here we have uh, the exact number, and you can see everywhere there is growth. So drinking water facility within the school premises. So this light color, you see it, the number was 94.8. I will just enlarge this so that you can zoom in so that you can see 95.8. This number of schools had drinking water facility, and that number increased to 98.2. Okay, from this particular year to this particular year. Okay, actually this should have been the other way, but that's fine, because yeah, okay, if you see from the top to the bottom, so yeah, in that way it is in particular order. Now girls toilets, 95.9, that increased to 97.5. The same way for boys toilets. Then hand wash facility. So in many schools, they may not have hand wash facility, or they maybe a few taps for the students to wash their hands immediately after eating breakfast or lunch or anything. So from 88.2, the number has significantly increased to 93.6. Electricity, yes, 76.7, which was like in many schools, probably in villages or somewhere, they had electricity problem, shortage of electricity. Maybe electricity used to be there only for like a couple of hours, and then for 2-3 hours there is no electricity, and the number has increased to 89.3. Everywhere you see a good growth, significant growth, if I say, in terms of computers, because before lockdown there are many schools, they did not have computers, or they had computers, but they were those computers were not in functioning order properly. I mean, they were not in function. They had some problem, or they did not have proper people or the expertise to prepare or do something. And maybe they had limited number of computers. If there were like 1,000 students or maybe 800 students at that school, in the computer lab they had nearly 20 or 25 computers. So in that way, from 34.5, you see there is a significant growth to 47.5. So many schools actually provided this. Like I said in the beginning, as per another data in which I read during lockdown, like I said for a speech, so internet facility, as according to that data, somewhere it was 12, 13, but here it is showing as 18.7. That means the school also had internet facility in the computer lab and also in the principal's lab, and also if there is a staff room, and in the staff room if there is a computer for the teachers to use to plan anything for pedagogy or anything. So anyway, the number is like nearly doubled. So 33.9, that's a good growth. Kitchen garden, and there are other facilities. Okay, so this is the growth, gross enrollment number. You can see here everywhere there is good growth in terms of 2018 to 19 to 2022. You can just understand this just by looking at the data. Okay. This is gender parity. I'm sure I'm not taking too much time. Now, what are the data highlights national level? So here, this particular, parameters will help you understand whatever graph you have seen on top, or maybe I just showed you in the video before. So total number of schools, we have this in 2020 and 21. You see here, now we have 14 lakhs 89,000. That means nearly 1 lakh schools. Yeah, nearly 1 lakh schools or 80,000 schools. Yeah, more than that, yes, are closed. After lockdown, there were many challenges. Many schools were functioning on rented building, and they did not have playground, or they could not cope up with the challenges the parents were facing and the school was facing immediately after lockdown for whatever reasons, for various reasons. So many schools, the number has gone down. So total number of Kendriya Vidyalaya schools, only you see there are like 10 more KV schools started. There could be more, there could be less, we are not sure. And then total number of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. So we have the same number. They didn't increase. And the central government schools, earlier they were like 316. Now we have only 272. State government schools are this. Okay. Here also you see there is a decline. Maybe some state government schools, schools, they have closed down, or maybe some they have given to some private players, or we don't know. So total government schools are these many. Total government aided schools. What is the meaning of government aided school? So there are people in localities, they form a society or a trust. Okay, they register the school and they apply to the government that we need funds to run the school, even though it is not directly a government school, but basically it's a government school but not run by the government officials directly. So the school can hire people based on the qualifications, and the government will provide the funds in terms of salaries, and also if there is some infrastructure or any other scheme that is out in the public, these schools can apply and they get the funds just to give away the salaries and all that. Then there are private unaided schools. I mean, totally private schools. Unaided, government does not provide any kind of fund to them. They have to make their own, collect the fees from that only. They have to give away the salaries and just like that. Then there are recognized madrasas. These many number of madrasas, recognized madrasas, and total other schools. Other category could be anything. Now, when you see the enrollment number from pre-primary to secondary, we have like 2 crores 64 lakhs 44,000, 26 crores actually, 26 crores 44 lakhs 49,987. And total number of enrollments primary to higher secondary, this is the number. Enrollment in pre-primary, then primary, you have all the number of boys, number of girls. Again, a quick question: how are we so sure about this exact number? Like, even you see the last digits, 31, 24, because like I said, every year school principals are supposed to submit this data, and this data is collected. So UDISE is particular portal where every school, recognized school, even at the CBSE level, also CBSE school, they also get UDISE number. So when you just click on that and they log in, whatever they see here, these will be the questions, okay, on the website. Okay, that is one way. And whatever they see, principal or the vice principal or anybody who is supposed to submit the data, they have to fill in based on the number that they have at the school. Okay, somewhere there will be differences. Okay, genuinely, if the school is exactly writing this number of students we have, so you will see, and out of that number of boys, number of girls, how many are in pre-primary level, how many are in primary level, how many are in upper primary, secondary, just like that. The data will also have the number of toilets, number of computers, internet facility or not, Wi-Fi, and all the other stuff. Also, the total number of teachers in government schools, in government aided schools, private schools, and other schools. Now, the performance indicators. One performance indicator is, for all the categories, what is the gross enrollment ratio? How many students are actually enrolled? And the gross enrollment in terms of the castes, also scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, all categories. What is the dropout rates? How many students leave the school in the middle and they change to some other school? What is the rate of dropout? And what is the transition rate? How many students in that particular school only, at that school only, they transition from primary to upper primary? They don't change. Okay. Then we have another parameter. Pupil teacher ratio. What is the size of the class? So you see here 26.25. That means the average is 26 students and one teacher. Okay, that way. Student teacher ratio. And there are like other parameters. So PTR again at upper primary level. What is in the higher level? Higher upper primary. What is the student teacher ratio at the secondary level, and also the senior secondary level, higher secondary level. Then we have gender parity index, GPI, which we all understand. Then in terms of infrastructure facilities, so percentage of schools having in electricity connection, then drinking water facility. You see, out of all the schools, it is 6.90. That was back into 2018 and 19, and this one is about 2021 and 22. You see, we have all these categories, and based on that, out of all the schools, what is the percentage? Then population projection. So this is just page number 25. We have a lot more. I will not go very much into detail, but I'll just show the highlights. I'm sure you understand when you just go to uh, education.government.in, or maybe when you Google search for UDISE, you will have this data, and whatever your purpose is, if you are a researcher or if you want to collect information so that you can just prepare your speech or debate, or maybe you can have a broader context of how education is happening in India. So this particular data, when you just get it, it will give you a lot of insights so that you can make your own speech, make your own debates and points. So in whichever state you live, and maybe between students also, you can have some kind of debate or competition, so that there are schools, if those schools don't have these particular facilities, okay, so there can be discussion. Okay, and with the help of parents, a lot can be done. Now state-wise also, the data will be available here. In Andaman and Nicobar, there are 416 schools total. Why? Because it's just an island, so you can't have 50,000, 60,000 schools there. Okay, otherwise the population itself is very less. So how can you have 50, 60,000 schools? It has to be a bigger state. It's like Andhra Pradesh, you see 61,948 schools. Here also, I'm telling you, don't just take the number. There'll be plus or minus here and there, and we don't know, because this is the data from 2 years back. Now there could be many schools, or some schools must have like closed down. One thing I would like to highlight, since we are talking about the schools in India, there's one particular data which I couldn't find. I actually checked for the total number of IGCSE and IB schools, because in India we have international curricula as well, so properly known as the Cambridge curriculum and the IB curriculum, right? So I just looked for that particular data. So I came to this particular web page. It is giving me the names of those schools, what those schools are. Even if you just go back, you see, there are 156 IB world schools in India. Okay, and we have good number of IGCSE schools also. You see, like I said, according to IBO, there were approximately 138 schools. Now, 5 years ago, in this report was published in May 2023. So now there are 221. I mean, more or less here and there will be like chances of increase and decrease, plus and minus, which is not a problem at all. So, how many IGCSE schools we have? As per this information, we have 500. So again, here also more or less, there could be IGCSE schools in India. That data is not available here. I have a question. Why? Why? When you are talking about education in India, and just that we have schools, ICSE schools also. I haven't checked because in other schools, maybe they have included IB and IGCSE or ICSE, these particular boards. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. Or if they want just to keep the data of the Indian schools, of Indian curricula. Okay. Maybe this is the number. Okay. Whatever that may be. Anyways, whichever state you are from, you can just immediately check. If you're from Himachal Pradesh, you can see in Himachal Pradesh there are 18,000 schools. I'm from Telangana, so going down to three, so we have 43,000 schools, and we have nearly 69 lakhs students only, right? Yeah, enrollment, and we have 33 lakh 20,000 teachers. Okay, and this is the student teacher ratio. I'm seeing here 22. This could be the average, but there are schools where basic number of any class is like 30, 35. Somewhere it is 40, somewhere it is 50. I kind of find it hard to believe, but that's fine. We're just seeing the number. I don't know. Okay, now this particular information is all about the facilities: library, book bank, reading corner, playground, digital library, kitchen garden, and you have all the other stuff. I was just curious to know about Delhi because Delhi government was in the news for many years that they have done an amazing job to reshape or shape the culture or the schools in Delhi for government school students. So if there are total 5,619 schools in every school you see, this is really amazing. Because out of all the information you check, Lashwadeep, yes, they have got equal number of libraries. That means every school has a library or a reading corner. In other states, you will see the difference. In some schools, it's still not there. Okay, I'm not looking into that information right now. You can just quickly pause the video and just check. Okay. So this is quite surprising that Delhi, then we have good number of libraries in Andaman and Nicobar also. And again, Lakshadweep, first prize to both the schools. Then we have a playground. Out of 5,600, 5,200 schools only have playground. 400, I mean 200 schools less. Digital library, only 274. Okay. Now everybody is talking about technology, innovation. I'm sure this number is going to increase, and we may have nearly probably 1,000 schools where they have digital library as well. Schools are having giving this access to students also, so that with the help of digital library, students can also read the books from home. But for that, even these schools, this children, they need to have access. They need to have access to internet, mobile phone, and parents might have another concern that my child is spending a lot of time on, I mean, especially screen time. Okay, so this is basically, you have all the information here, and based on that, you can easily, make your own understanding which state is doing good in terms of these facilities. I want to check for Telangana because I'm from Telangana. Andhra Pradesh. Jai Telangana. Okay, so we have this number library, and we have nearly 31,716 schools have playground, which is really surprising to me because there are many private institutions in Hyderabad, in other places, where downstairs in the ground floor there is a shopping mall or maybe some shops, and on the first floor there is a school. And there are apartments where ground floor it's all parking, and the first floor, second floor, third floor there is a school. So I know when you look at the number, it's almost nearly how much? 12,000 number is less from the total number of schools, but 12,000 schools don't have a playground. Okay, whatever. Digital library 772, which is a very, the least number. And the other things, electricity, functional electricity, and all that. If you see electricity, 40,000 schools have proper electrical connection, and not just connection, the supply of electricity. Okay, the functioning electricity. The same way you can see the other facilities also. Computers used for pedagogical purposes. I mean, teachers have access to computers so that they can plan the lessons. And how many schools have internet facility, drinking water facility, functional drinking water facility. I mean, when functional, it's working condition. Okay, not like in repair or something. Hand wash facility, rainwater harvesting, ramp, and handrails and blah blah whatever. Delhi, let's see, Delhi, 5,619 schools. Out of all, nearly half of these schools have computers for pedagogical purposes, and equal number are in functional order. Internet facility, all the schools have internet facility. Okay, not a single school is left. You see, equally, drinking water, everything, functional drinking water, yes. Then we have hand wash facility, yes, equal number everywhere. And again, the same thing for ramp. And yeah, I think data speaks for itself, right? So whenever they were collecting the data, they saw out of all the states, not just whatever we see on YouTube or Instagram or any other platform, people talking about daily education and how many good facilities that this government is has been providing. And whatever they provided, that is basically reflecting in the sheet. Okay, I don't know how lengthy this video has become. It could be like 20 minutes or more than that. In a couple of minutes, I'll just finish this video. Details on schools, India and state level. Okay, let's quickly check what it is. Number of schools by level of education. Okay, how many schools are only primary and how many are upper primary, secondary, and next. Okay, this is the particular information. Types of management, yes, private, government, anything else. I'll go to the next one, which is details on teaching and non-teaching staff. Uh, okay, it is not that concerning right now to me. So I'll move to the next particular page. This is about details on enrollments. Yes. So all over India, 26 crores. Good. From Andaman and Nicobar, we have 7 lakh 73,861 enrollment in total pre-primary to grade 12. Delhi, this is the number, 45 lakhs 70,000. Telangana, it's 69 lakhs. This is the same number which we saw on top. So this is the enrollment of students. How many students are enrolled in every single state? So that's how you see the size of the population. Everywhere it is like 79 lakhs, 1 crore. Somewhere it is 2 crore, somewhere it is less. Awesome, amazing. You see here, what's the number here? 2 crore, 27, 2 crore, 74 lakhs, 72,692. Very big number. 2 crore students, 2.5 crores. Awesome. Okay. I think it's the same thing. Enrollment of students by school management. So in government schools, how many students are enrolled in the government schools? This is all types of management. This is particularly about government schools. How many? So Delhi again, let's check. 27 lakhs 96,676. Huge. Okay, this is it. We'll move to the next particular section. Okay, we have performance indicators. Yeah, this is important. Like, how do we evaluate? How do we say this state is really doing good? Okay, states and union territories. The good thing about this particular data is we have information on the union territories as well. We are not leaving anything. Okay, so boys, girls, total primary from 1 to 5, gross enrollment ratio. Like in the beginning, you saw the performance metrics. One of the performance metric is gross enrollment ratio, GER, by gender and level of school education. So let's go to the next one. This is net enrollment ratio. We have age specific enrollment. Okay, if we see here the percentage, then this is gender parity index. Then we have percentage of OBC and other backward classes, scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, and any other caste that we have, and the promotion rate, like how many students from primary they are promoted to higher second primary to upper primary or secondary, and then higher secondary, and then that way you see 100% somewhere students fail and they are still asked, so those students are made to study the same class. So 97.4 girls, 98.7, that means there are some students who really need help. Okay, I mean everybody needs help, all the students, I'm not discriminating, but what I'm seeing the number here, that's how I'm speaking. Okay, the other performance metric is the repetition rate by the level of education. So I mean, now students, when they are made to be in the same class in the next year, how many of them repeat the same class? I think this is the data information. Okay, so repetition rate, you see zero means nobody, boys or girls, they don't repeat the same class, they are promoted, that's why it is 100% in the previous data. Dropout rate, how many students they just drop out, okay, this don't study, I mean they just leave. Arunachal Pradesh, I don't know what is happening in Arunachal Pradesh, it is 9.3, and Meghalaya 11.1. Out of all the students enrolled, 11.1 students they drop out in the lower classes, or could be they go to some other school, they change the school. Dropout doesn't mean they don't. I mean, here it doesn't mean totally they leave education. It could be anything. I mean, I'm just assuming. I could be wrong. Please correct me in the comment section. And then the transition rate from one class to another class, and is similar to promotion, and it could be anything else also in terms of and gender. I mean, the gender difference. Lastly, okay, retention rate. Okay, how many students they still continue in the same school. This is about the electricity and functionality, then this is about the same thing, drinking water facility, and just like that we have all the other facilities and that particular data very thoroughly, not just one particular. Okay, 98% schools have electricity, no, we don't want to look into that number, that particular figure. We really want to understand out of all the states exactly how many states have electricity, what is the percentage. All 29 states, their data, this is the document. Okay, we have details on vocational education. Okay, then we have details on various educational parameters by the management. So number of teachers, number of enrollments, number of girls, number of boys, number of percentage of schools having functional electricity. Somewhere it's being repeated, government schools and central government schools and all the other thing. I think that's it. I don't have to details on computers and digital initiatives. Yes, this is something somewhere interesting. Total schools with functional computer lab or whatever you see, functional desktop and PC available. So Delhi government 5,619, this much government aided at private schools. These many private schools have this facility. Schools with functional, so every computer is, I mean, you saw somewhere on top, all these schools have computers and all the computers are in function, in I mean in that particular order, are in functional mode. Then yeah, okay, I don't want to make this video very lengthy. Thank you for watching this video right from the beginning. I don't know how many minutes I've taken, but like I said in the beginning, it could be just a piece of information for you. We are Indians and we are we take pride into, I mean, being an Indian, and also because when we talk about that, there are these many schools, and there are people who are not aware that we have this number of schools. I mean, huge, crores and crores of students, lakhs of teachers, lakhs of schools. How are they functioning? What are the parameters? What is the gender ratio there? What is the enrollment ratio? What is the dropout ratio? Okay, when you look at these number, if you are an education leader, if you are a researcher, or if you are a person who is preparing, or if maybe from this video or from this particular data you got some information which you can also use to help your students, maybe motivate them to prepare some kind of a speech or something to talk about education that is happening in India. So at times what happens, people they basically go on complaining, okay, there is nothing happening in India and we are actually way much behind when we compare ourselves with other countries. But when you look at the number, and every year the education budget is given. You saw 5.6% is of the GDP is being spent, or maybe more or less. India is spending that much of money, billions of rupee, billions of dollars, that much money. So because this is the reality where the money is gone, and how well that is being utilized, and how the schools are functioning in terms of skill development, the ratio of the students, the transition, the retention, the dropout, and the electricity facility, the computer facility, you can see, especially in the beginning, when you saw from a very small number, immediately after the lockdown, when you compare the data from 4 years, you saw there was like 15% growth in internet facility. Before that, it was not. Even in computers also, there was like nearly 20, 12, 13, 14% growth. So these are the initiatives taken by the government where they're trying in their own way. Okay. In terms of skill development, yes, there could be differences, and we may not actually agree with whatever whatever is happening in India, but what's fine. There is hope, and there are schools and teachers who are educated, be it qualified teachers. They're doing their level best. They're trying their level best. So that's it. I'm actually ending this video. I know it became too lengthy. Thank you for watching, and bye. See you in the next video.